And I always said to my direct reports, if I chat to your staff, don't worry about it. I'm not going back. I'm just getting to know people. So you walk around and you become the flag bearer for the change in the culture. And I got the team together and I said, look, we need to go to a whole new level. And I've got this plan, 4% growth, and we need to be on a whole new level. And my COO quit on the spot. He said, you mad? You bonkers. We're really successful. I'm out of here. So I said, okay, how can I help you? And he went to another country with BMW. It's fine. But over the next 4 years, with the same team of people, we did move some people around. He gave people more responsibility. And we grew our business by 80%, not by 4%, 80%. We increased operating profit by 500%. And my masters in Germany, they fought me. For the first 18 months, they fought me.
What was your biggest idea that they didn't like?
It's hard to say.
Was it a bunch of small things they didn't like?
It was a bunch of small things, but the ideas were coming out of the business. Here's a classic example. I walked down to the parts warehouse, and parts are big business. You know, we sell your car, so you'll buy parts. So margin on a car is 8%, margin on parts is 40%. So parts are really important. And I would walk around with this enormous parts warehouse, huge. And I'd walk in and you've got to find a way to strike up a conversation with the guys, because typically what happens is you walk in and everyone goes, oh, the boss is here, boss is here. And they think you're deaf because they whisper, the boss is here, boss is here, boss is here. And everyone suddenly looks busy. So you just walk over and say, hey, Richard, how's it going? And I can see he's got Manchester United. Are you United supporter? Yeah. Hey, man, good season. And you just break the ice on. I don't walk in and say, tell me about a parts operation. We chat about United for a bit and doing all right, aren't they? You know, and they come in, it's good, blah, blah, blah. And one day I was standing there talking to one guy and I said, if this were your business, what would you change? And he said something like, are you serious? I said, I'm deadly serious. If this was your business, what would you change? He said, stand here. He said, look over there. He said, watch those trucks, watch those forklift trucks. So watch these trucks and they go through into the where all the racking is, and they pick their pieces and they come back and they go 50 meters down through the hole in the wall, come back, and then they load the truck. And he said, what do you notice? He said, well, they all have to go down and go through that hole. He said, yeah. He said, they all have to go through the same. And he said, it's just inefficient.
It's a bottleneck.
No, it was an Expomet wall, right? So you could see through it, but you couldn't get through it. So I said to him, what are you doing at the weekend? Massive bloody wall. That's what you do at the weekend. He said, well, I said, you want to come in and help me tear that wall down? He looked at me and said, you serious? I said, I'm deadly serious. He said, oh, the lads don't do that. I said, right, well, let me look into it. Now, we're not just going to, I mean, this is a proper thing, Berlin safety and da.
Berlin Wall and BMW.
Exactly, but we brought in some contractors and the guys came in and helped and we took that wall out. And people said to me afterwards, what was the efficiency improvement? I said, I have no idea. I said, there was some, but I didn't measure it. I couldn't measure it. They said, well, why'd you do it then? I said, because that guy has told everybody who will listen to him in the pub and in the common room and in the restaurant and everywhere, that if you have an idea, this bloke will listen to you.
And is that enough reason to do something?
No, I think it starts the culture roll. It starts the culture change. And so the ideas start flowing.